This is a game that will test one's wit, will, and strength of taste buds. Today's Samyang Challenge will be a trivia game of sorts where players of the game will try to answer 22 questions all about this episode's topic of choice. Today's players are... If they don't get it right, they will have to eat a forkful of fire noodles. And this episode's topic of choice is... Around what earliest approximately recorded time did the Iron Age begin? Five, four, three, the correct answer is B! Even if meteoric iron has been used by humans since at least 3200 BC, the start of the Iron Age proper is considered by many to fall between 1200 BC and 600 BC, depending on the region.
How many years did the Iron Age last in Britain?
1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005. Ding, 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 ding! Answers!
Yes,
The correct answer is B!
As mentioned before, the Age of Iron began in different times in different regions of the world. The period known as the Iron Age in Britain lasted for about 800 years.
Oh my God. Makakaulit ano ba? Wow, iba talaga. Mag-post na naman. Sige, go.
The Iron Age lasted in Britain from blank BC to blank AD.
Ding, 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 ding. Answer is D. Oh my gosh.
It was recorded that the period lasted for about 800 years, from 750 BC to AD 43.
Ice cream, guys. Lamig ice cream after Andy. Kapag mo. 1, 2, 3.
What was the age before the Iron Age in Europe and Asia?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bang, 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 bang. It's B. Yay! Correct pa! Walay makaon.
Iron Age is the final technological and cultural stage in the Stone, Bronze, Iron Age sequence. World history and civilization are split into 3 periods. First, ancient, second, medieval, and third, modern. The first period of the ancient period is the Stone Age, followed by the Bronze Age. The Iron Age generally follows the Bronze Age, although some societies went from the Stone Age straight into the Iron Age, just like in Africa.
What is the chemical formula for iron ore?
Why? Three, two, one. Ding, 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 ding. Answer na.
Palima na! Is... Wait, not the correct answer. Boss.
Pili yung magic.
Amazing, amazing,
Ah,
amazing.
C pa na lang, C. C pa lang. Yung muna ang D. Yung tubig.
Uy, bawal!
Bawal eh.
A.
Ay, sa'yo pa.
Ay, ang answer.
Answer C, no?
The Iron Age is an archaeological era, referring to a period of time in the prehistory where the dominant tool-making material was iron. People in parts of Western Africa and Southwestern Asia were the first to realize that the dark silvery rocks poking out of the earth could be worked into tools and weapons, sometime around 1500 BC, evidence shows. Metal was probably discovered there by accident when some ore was dropped into a fire and cooled into wrought iron, historians think. The Eureka movement didn't reach Europe for another 500 years, traveling slowly north and west to Greece, Italy, Central Europe, and finally to the British Isles with the spread of the famous Celtic tribes. The Celts diffused iron technology over much of the continent through warfare, where their victory was assured due to the strength of the iron weapons.
Ganoon ah.
How did the discovery of iron and the discovery of how to use it made a dramatic impact on everyday life?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Answer is...
Kaya kamay naging... Different choice, letter D. All of you, eat. Samyang. Iron is easy to find but hard to make into tools. It melts at a higher temperature than bronze. When blacksmiths learned how to make iron tools, they were able to make many of them. With more and better tools, people could do more. For example, more people could own a metal plow. They could farm their fields better and grow more crops. Some people invented coins to help buy and sell their crops and their iron tools. Bronze weapons and armor were no match for those made of iron, so many people who did not have iron were conquered by those who did. Armor was rare in Western Europe's Iron Age, but people used shields and helmets to keep safe in battles.
Dapat mo kauningon man ang choice. Ituyo mo na sa lagi.
What is steel?
Ay, matagal-tagal nga po ni. Wala po, hindi hanga na. 3.
Ganun, pari-parehas.
Pare-pareho na pala yung choice.
C. C lagi na.
Ang answer, adik ay A.
During the Iron Age, the best tools and weapons were made from steel, an alloy consisting of iron with a carbon content between 0.02% and 1.7% by weight. Steel weapons and tools were nearly the same weight as those of bronze, but stronger. However, steel was difficult to produce with the methods available. Therefore, many Iron Age tools were fashioned of wrought iron. Wrought iron is weaker than bronze, but because it was less expensive and more easily sharpened, people use it anyway. Samyang challenge.
What is the oldest known article made out of iron?
What is the oldest known article? A. Dagger. B. Rotary quern. C. Hammering tool. Uy, bawal!
Why are we doing this?
5, 4, 3, 2,
Isa! 3, 2, 1, go! Correct answer is A!
One of the earliest smelted iron artifacts known was a dagger with an iron blade found in a Hattic tomb in Anatolia dating from 2500 BC. Remember how we told you Iron Age started at around 1200 BC? Yes, it's all right, but humans have actually been using iron way earlier than the Iron Age.
During the Iron Age, farming played an important role in the community. In Europe, how many religious festivals do they have every year?
Isa, naginap din ko eh! 1, 2, 3, go!
sino yan?
C! Kasi ko, ah!
Since farming played an important role in the Iron Age community, the religious festivals and rituals that they follow as their system of beliefs also follow the same seasonal pattern in Europe. This is based around the agricultural year. Fragments of bronze calendar found in Cologne near Bourg in France mentions two of the seasonal festivals, Bretagne 1st of May and Lugnasad 1st of August. Bretagne recognizes the beginning of the warm season, a time when cattle are put out to open grazing, while Lugnasad would have marked the hope for ripening of the crops.
Yeah, go kids, go kids, go kids, go!
True or false? It was the Iron Age that developed the basic economic innovations that laid the foundation for feudal organization.
True or false? A.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yes.
Let's true ba na kung answer actually?
The people of the Iron Age developed the basic economic innovations of the Bronze Age and laid the foundations for feudal organization. They utilized the crops and domesticated animals introduced earlier from the Middle East. Ox-drawn plows and wheeled vehicles acquired a new importance and changed the agricultural patterns. For the first time, humans were able to exploit efficiently the temperate forests. Villages were fortified, warfare was conducted on horseback and in horse-drawn chariots, and alphabetic writing based on the Phoenician script became widespread. Distinctive art styles in metal, pottery, and stone characterized many Iron Age cultures.
Cheese powder lang ito ay
Where did most people live during the Iron Age?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Forget! Kabalo mo!
Surrounded by moats, walls, and ditches. People lived like this for protection, as war was common during the Iron Age. Many of the people that lived during the Iron Age lived in hill forts. Hill forts were groups of thatched houses on top of a hill.
Yay, go kids!
Who are the people that lived in Europe during the Iron Age?
Ano ba?
Sorry ba? May sequence. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Super answer. B. Yay!
Next, next, next.
The people that lived in Europe during the Iron Age were called the Celts. They lived in villages and were ruled by kings and queens. The material culture of the Iron Age in West Central Europe attributable to the end of the First Iron Age and its Second Iron Age successor have been termed Celtic.
What place in Europe believed in powerful spirits? Age Britain believed in powerful spirits. They met to worship the spirits in sacred places like the shores of a lake or a clearing in a wood.
What was the most important food that people during the Iron Age eat?
5, 4, 3, 2,
Wait, wait.
Go?
go! Fish!
As for eating, bread would have been an important part of any meal and was made from wheat and barley ground down into flour using cornstone. The dough would have been baked in a simple clay domed oven, of which evidence has been found in Iron Age houses.
So guys,
Bilay na bilay nga questions.
tagkag pa.
Idaghan ba itong Samyang? What was the most common leisure activity of Iron Age people? 5, 4, 3, 2,
Go!
so, ang answer.
What? Board game?
Board game!
Idol!
Ano? As for leisure activities for both the young and old, glass gaming pieces have been found in some of the later Iron Age burials, showing that forms of board games may have been available. Children who during the day would have helped in the house or tended livestock may have occupied their free time by practicing their skill at the slingshot, a common and accessible weapon of the Iron Age.
I'm fine.
The social system of the Iron Age consisted of many small villages, but you would also find bigger villages. We call them
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Censor.
D.
Yes!
The social system of the Iron Age consisted of many small villages, but you would also find bigger villages. We call them central villages. This is where families who had separated themselves from the majority of people and had accumulated wealth and power lived. Other people would settle down in the vicinity to benefit from their protection. The protection probably also included smaller normal villages close by.
Kailangan, man. May hap. And
Which of the following hill forts were not developed during the Iron Age?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
C.
Sigurd. See?
Ganahan, sige mo pa ako.
Ganahan ni Dodge ko.
Wailing Castle itself was built in about 600 BC. The early phase was a simple and unremarkable site, similar to many other hill forts in Britain. Around 450 BC, it underwent major expansion, during which the enclosed area was nearly tripled in size, making it the largest hill fort in Britain. Old Oswestry, one of Britain's most spectacular and impressive early Iron Age hill forts, marks the beginning of one of Britain's oldest settlements, Oswestry. It was built and occupied during the Iron Age, and it remains one of the best preserved hill forts in the UK, according to English Heritage. Dogmail, which appeared during the Bronze Age, was an ancient hill fort on Dogova and an important commerce center between Baltic and Scandinavian peoples.
Tools introduced in Iron Age.
Nanong diya ba? Lagi na reason nga nung naigibutang diya. Nanong diya ba? 5. Wing, wing, wing,
Hey! Sorry, no? Microburins, although one tools and the canine blade are Stone Age tools.
Next.
Alright.
What is the only Iron Age helmet discovered with horns?
Mani!
A. Water
only Iron Age helmet to have ever been found in southern England, and it is the only Iron Age helmet with horns ever to have been found anywhere in Europe. This helmet is unlikely to have been used in battle and was probably a form of ceremonial headdress. The person who wore the helmet would need a modern hat size of 7.
Kim, appeal man ka. Alright.
Okay, next question.
This new domestic tool helped to change the lives of the Iron Age people and arrived in Britain in the middle of the Iron Age. It helped speed the processing of wheat, barley or rye into flour to make bread and other foods.
What? Pergi!
Five.
The rotary quern was used to grind grain into flour. It was made from 2 flat stones, one on top of the other. The top stone was then turned by a handle. Because the lower stone can't move, the grain was crushed between the 2 stones. The rotary quern made grinding flour much quicker and easier than before.
Okay, next.
True or false? Before the Middle Iron Age, pottery was made by hand from pinch pots, coils, or paddle and anvil.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
True.
Baro!
People started using potter's wheels at the middle of the Iron Age. They used their feet to turn the wheel. As it turned, the potters used both hands to shape the clay. When the potter's wheel was not yet introduced, the pot wall could vary in thickness by some way. Wheel-thrown pots were generally far more even and symmetrical. All those years ago, as potters continued to throw clay, the molten iron that was rotating deep below them tugged at tiny bits of magnetic minerals embedded in the potter's clay. As the jars were heated in the kiln and then subsequently cooled, those minerals swiveled and froze into place like tiny compasses, responding to the direction and strength of the Earth's magnetic field at that very moment. The behavior of the magnetic field in the past can be studied by examining archaeological artifacts or geological material that were heated and cooled, such as lava. This made it possible for archaeologists and geophysicists to produce decade-scale temporal measurements of the Earth's magnetic field's strength from before the invention of the magnetometer.
Yay!
Yay!
Gan sige ko, di ba?
What tool made the cultivation of heavy clay soils possible?
Last na guys! Yay!
Yes!
Last question.
Ang mabili kayo sa ikaw na nito.
Hello!
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
B. Alright!
Iron Age plows are sometimes known as ards. They were made from wood, but they had an iron tip on the end of the plow to help it cut through heavy soil. The plow was guided by the farmer and pulled by the oxen. Farmers no longer needed to use antlers and stone tools to dig up their land. Iron sickles were used to harvest crops, as well as cutting and shaping branches for hurdles. Managing trees or hedges was necessary for Iron Age farmers, as the wood was used in the construction of hurdles, buildings, tools, and vehicles, and also for firewood and charcoal.
Urot! Urot!
Ayaw, wala ko di sunod tayo.
Sabot!
Manami, yay! Bye!
Ano sa?
Mangi ko niyo kita tanan. Ay, awa ka ni daw, kana ana ba?
Hirap sa.
Ikaw eh.